Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with Aligned Self, yes, providing psychotherapy services in both Orlando, Florida, and New York City. Yeah, she also, works virtually as a coach too, right? All over the place, but as a mental health counselor, just those states you're licensed in?
Yes.
Great. And it's Nirmala Bijraj.
Bijraj. Yes.
Bijraj, thank you. Well, please introduce yourself. We do have new listeners each and every week. So let's just establish a little bit about your company and the work that you do.
Yeah, so I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I provide psychotherapy in New York and Florida virtually. We're currently growing our practice, so there's a couples counselor joining our team very soon. So it's just all about relationships.
Mm-hmm. And as a licensed mental health counselor, how many years have you been in the business for?
I got out of grad school in 2013. So since then, it's
Awesome.
been a little while. I don't know how many years that is.
No, but you got a lot of experience. So I know you're big into diversity and inclusion and equity as well. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so those are three big buzzwords in the field in general. But we want to be able to be open for everyone, all bodies, all genders, all identities, just all abilities. So everyone, this is a safe space for you. This is a safe space that you can truly be yourself without judgment. So you can bring your entire person to it.
Perfect. And the website and how we can contact you, please?
The website is alignedself.co. That's ALIGNEDSELF.co. So that's the best way to contact us. You can also reach us on Instagram, alignedself.co. So those are the two best ways to contact. But I would say go to the website. That's the easiest way. There's an email address on there that you can reach out to us. There's a contact form, and there's a schedule a consultation there as well.
Great. And what aspects of counseling did you want to discuss today? I know you work individuals, you work with couples, relationships. What did you want to share?
Relationships. So let's talk to some people on what issues they're having in terms of communication in their relationship and how we can maybe work some of that out for you and give you a little taste of what relationship therapy is all about.
Yeah, and if you do have any questions, we're going to open the phone lines in just 2 minutes. It's 631-205-6593, 631-205-6593. So if you have any questions as she's speaking, feel free to chime on in. Yeah, relationships, I know we talked about, it's not just couples. There's the relationships in every aspect, and family dynamic and work relationships. And, to dive in further, is relationship counseling really like your specialty, do you say?
Yes. So my personal specialty is non-monogamous, open, non-traditional relationships, but that's like very niche. But it's all types of relationships. Most people come to me that are just struggling with a partner, communication with a partner, setting boundaries. So I see those clients a lot.
Do you want to share some stories and the types of things you're able to overcome with people in relationship problems?
I can give some general ideas versus some like personal stories, confidentiality and all. So if you are fighting with your partner all the time, right? You are usually hurt, angry, frustrated. You get irritated real easily, and it kind of just builds over time, right? It doesn't really go away. You try to talk it out, and it ends up into an argument instead. So what I would work on you as an individual is figuring out what you're trying to say, right? Are you hurt by them? Are you angry with them? Anger is a catch-all emotion. So usually there's hurt, sadness, loneliness even under there. Are you not being heard? Are you trying to tell them something, but the words you're using aren't coming across the way you want it to? It comes across and then it starts an argument. So the first part is literally just figuring out what you want to say, how you're actually feeling, so we can actually share it with the person. And then how do we share it and not cause an argument? Wow. We don't want to be blaming, you did this, you did this, you did this. That's not going to help the situation. But sharing instead, I'm feeling hurt because you promised that you would be more supportive when I talked about this topic, and I'm not feeling heard because when I start talking about it, you ignore me, or it seems like you're dismissing me,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels hurtful. And then I get angry because that's what I'm feeling. So it all
Mm-hmm.
comes out as anger instead.
Yeah.
And then just that over and over again in many different ways.
Yeah. And so, what are any tips that we could do? Because we do get angry, frustrated, want to be heard, guilty. Yeah, I think we all are, right? What type of coping techniques do you give?
Um, you know what is normal? We're human. Nobody teaches
Okay.
us how to do these things.
Okay.
Um, take a step back. If you're getting angry and frustrated, take a step back, get some space. If you can say it like, hey, I need some time to think. I'm getting angry. Hey, I need some space right now. I'm feeling frustrated. Great. If you really can't and you're so elevated, walk away. Walk away for a few minutes. If you're in a situation where you can't go anywhere, go to the bathroom.
Hmm.
There's always a bathroom nearby.
Yeah.
Go to
True.
the bathroom, take a breather, come back to it. I gotta say though, when you're walking away, you always have to come back to the situation. You can't just walk away and let it be,
Yeah.
because it's still gonna be there when you come back. It's still gonna be pop up, even if it's not there and you both calm down and you're no longer fighting. It's still an issue that's gonna come
True.
back around at some point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna go away. So you got to come back and talk about it. If you're the person walking away, you should be the one coming back. You should also be communicating how much time you need if it's more than a few minutes. Like, hey, I need a day or two.
Yeah.
Well, the person knows that I'm gonna come back to this conversation. I just need time to think about it.
Hmm. Time heals everything. I always say, doesn't mean, some people can forgive, some people can't forget. Right? And you're dealing with relationships. So there could be infidelity, there could be just mistrust, there could be. But then I also read, and you in the field, you may know, there's something called five love languages.
Yeah, the love
Do you
languages.
know that? And is that part of the issue why you can't understand someone else's need because they're different love giver, different? Yeah. I don't even know what the five were, but I know I heard this.
Well, yes and no. I'm
Okay.
gonna mostly go with no, because with enough communication, you can talk about it and figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, yes, because some people do actually, it gives them a way to identify what they want from a relationship. It's helpful because you could say, oh, I really like acts of service because I like when someone's doing something nice for me, even if it's just like making me a cup of coffee in the morning. That
Hmm.
makes me feel loved.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a word to put to it, uh,
Yeah.
a description. But it's at the end of the day, you still have to tell them what you want.
Hmm.
You're never telling them. You're not even telling them acts of service is my love language. They're never gonna know. You're gonna expect it, and they're not gonna know, and then you're gonna get disappointed, and then you're gonna get angry because they're not meeting your expectations now.
Yeah. True.
So it still does come back to, you need to tell them what you want. It You need to share what you want from a relationship, and it also needs to be realistic.
Yeah.
You can't expect more than a person is able to give. Um, for example, I love a real nice car.
Right. Yeah.
That's not what something I would ask a partner.
Uh-huh.
Also, like if you want more time with them and they work 16
Then,
hours a day,
yeah.
for example, like you can't say, I expect you to have dinner with me every night.
Hmm.
That might be unrealistic. You have to come to a compromise and say, when can we meet together so that we can have time together that
Yeah.
works for both of us?
Hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
And make it happen. So out of your, relationship counseling and stories, you're working together virtually with both a couple. Do you do it together and separate sessions? And normally how
So
long
I
do people, sign up for? Is there different package programs or
There's no package program. With therapy, you can't do that. With coaching, you
coaching?
can,
Okay.
but with therapy, you can't. Just ethical issues there
Got it.
with
Mm-hmm.
licensing board, which actually makes sense. We don't want to force anyone into something. This is therapy. This is a space for you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be forced to be going to it. And that's not going to be helpful for a person. But yes, it is virtually. I personally work with very, very few couples. Because I like working with my individuals. I like one-on-one therapy a lot more. Our
Mm-hmm.
couples therapist meets with
Oh,
both people. first, then separately, one by one, to, get each person's history and what they're like, what their family history is, how did they grow up, who do
Mm-hmm.
they communicate with, what their communication history and patterns are like, and then back together to see what they want together from a relationship, and then go
Mm-hmm.
from there. And usually people come in with an issue. You don't really have to find one.
And it could be from far back as childhood too. That could be affecting them, right? You,
Sometimes, yeah. A lot of the times, though, it's things that so with communication specifically, it's patterns that we learn. Like, how did our primary caregivers, whether it's parents, grandparents, whoever took care of us when we were little,
mm-hmm.
what did they communicate like? How did they communicate to each other? How did it communicate to you? What was the environment like? Because that's usually how we shape our own communication styles, right? If your
Interesting.
parents are always arguing, you're going to think that that's normal and that's okay in a relationship. And when that does happen, it doesn't feel wrong. It doesn't feel um, like that should be that should be an issue.
Yeah. And, relationships, always not the easiest thing in the world. But what are some of the things that you teach the clients? Like, how are they, is there any tips you can teach our listeners today about, I don't know, breathing, meditate? How do we calm ourselves down before we talk or before we get so frustrated, so angry?
So you gotta first learn to notice when you're getting frustrated and angry, because if you don't even know that part, you can't even stop it, right?
Yeah.
Do I start getting anxious? Do I start getting sweaty? Does my heart start beating faster? Um, what do I notice that's happening so that it can be like a cue that I'm
Yeah.
getting angry?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first part, like paying attention to what happens before you get angry. Because if you don't know that part, you can't stop it because
Yeah.
there's no cue. You're just gonna go from 0 to 100 and there's no stopping. The second part is sometimes you just can't stop it. You're
Yeah.
gonna get angry. It's an emotion. It's natural. It's human, and that's okay. It's what you do with it that matters.
Yeah.
Um, so a tip for that is if you're so angry and you need space and you want to really get out of your head right away, is actually distraction. Distraction in a short amount. We don't want to distract ourselves for like days on end.
No.
Watch something that will immerse you. Watch a movie, watch a comedy show, go for a walk. Go for a walk and listen to a funny podcast. Something that's going to bring your brain out of that and your body out of that anger.
Yeah.
And then you can come back to the conversation. So that little bit of distraction takes your body out of that fight, flight, or
Mm-hmm.
freeze response
Yeah.
so that your nervous system is no longer aroused. And then you can really think about what's happening.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. What else did you want to share for us today?
Um, it's okay to be angry.
Okay.
Okay to be angry and feel an anger
Mm-hmm.
and pain, sadness and hurt. It's
Mm-hmm.
what you do with it. Don't, you might be used to lashing out, but that doesn't mean it's who you are. You can
Mm-hmm.
change that. It just takes time, patience, and practice, really. Like
Yeah.
everything else, you got to practice it. It's a muscle you got to work out. You got to form all new connections in your brain and build new patterns. And that's where therapy would be helpful because you're coming in, you're checking in every week, you're talking about what's working, what's not working, why it didn't work. Um, what else can we do differently? What did work?
Yeah.
Because there are things that do work. How do we continue to put the things that do work together and figure out other things that don't and take those off?
Mm-hmm.
But you are going to get angry, you're going to get frustrated. It's human, it's emotions, and just take the time to give yourself the space and ask for it too. If you don't have it, like, hey, I need some space. I
Mm-hmm.
need a little bit of time because I'm getting angry. Once you figure out that cue, that's going to be like, hey, I know I'm getting angry. I can feel my jaw clenching. I can feel my fist clenching. Like I know I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry. I need some space to calm down before we can continue this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. All right, good one. Because yeah. Now, are you being the expert that you are? And does that mean that you're like perfect at relationships and perfect with
Hell
everything?
no.
Oh, you said, all right, good. Thank you. I'm like, so
No.
all your friends must come to you with their issues, right?
Yes and no. I like have a hard and fast rule. I won't be my friends or family's therapist. Just
Mm-hmm.
too much complicatedness. Um, Nobody's perfect, not even
No.
us. All the things that I teach people, I still struggle with too.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, I don't need to be perfect to be doing my job. I need to know what the skills are and learn how to implement them, um, to be able to teach someone else, and that's it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, nobody's perfect in relationships. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. If there is, somebody's lying.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, and there's your therapist should not be a perfect person either because that's not realistic, right?
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
you want someone that's human that also makes mistakes that they learn from as well
Yeah.
because it feels a lot more authentic. The connection is more real. It's nobody wants to talk to a blank slate robot.
True.
Yeah, that was the thing they taught us in school. Like you have to be
Mm-hmm.
blank slate, but no, bring your personality in. Be a person.
Mm-hmm. And that says a lot. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, I need you to remind us of all contact information, phone number, email, social media.
Yes, you can reach us at alignself.co. That's a lot www dot. Do we even need to put that in anymore?
I don't know. I don't think so, right? Good point. www dot. I remember. Look, I still have AOL. So yeah.
It's alignself.co, ALIGNEDSELF.co. And it's the same for Instagram at alignself.co. We're on Facebook, but nobody really checks the social media. So you're better off getting us on the website. There's an email address and a phone number there, as well as a contact page and the ability to book a consultation online with us.
Great.
Free
Well,
consultation, actually.
thank you. So relationships, what else? You do anxiety therapy, grief counseling. What else did you want to discuss for today's show?
Yeah, I mean, so the grief counseling, because that's also a relationship, right? We've lost a
True.
relationship to
Mm-hmm.
something. And there's so much of that in life. It's a friendship that's lost. It's a best friend, it's a roommate, it's a pet,
Mm-hmm.
it's a job because that, we're in a society we need jobs.
True. True.
Um, COVID, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people passed away, a lot of people got hurt, a
Wow.
lot
Yeah.
of people's life changed and continue to change through that process. So there's a lot of loss of old self, who we used to be, who we were when we were younger, who we are now. It's different. So there's a lot of loss, and that's all relationship to something, to ourselves, to someone else. Grief counseling is part of relationship therapy in that way.
Okay.
And just being able to process all of that. I use the word process, but there's really no other word to describe it. Just sitting there with your feelings and being able to accept them,
Mm-hmm.
and struggle with them too, because it's okay to struggle with them. And it's okay for someone to tell you, go ahead, cry it out. So grief counseling is part of that. And then we do anxiety because that's a word that everybody knows. I'm getting anxiety, I'm having anxiety, I'm feeling anxious. But when you come down to it, it's usually you're anxious and anxious. It comes down to relationships again, right? At the core of it, I'm anxious because um, my performance at work is low,
Yeah.
or I'm anxious because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job or I'm going to lose my home. What does that mean? It means that I'm not supporting the people in my life.
Yeah.
It means I'm judging myself. It means so many other things other than anxiety. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not dismissing anxiety. You are anxious.
Yeah.
It's a symptom of something else.
Yeah.
So anxiety therapy there. Depression is also part of it. It's loss, it's sadness, it's grief. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's your relationship to yourself and the people around you.
Yeah.
And that's really like what human beings are meant to have. And when we feel like that's not going well, it causes us so much stress, anxiety, and depression. So relationship, that's where that comes from for us.
Got it. What other things do you specialize in that you want to kind of share for today?
I have a tiny little niche practice in therapy for entrepreneurs because I
Mm-hmm.
know it's so hard, specifically like work-life balance. It's so hard to balance everything, especially when you own your own business. So being able to create that, I work with influencers, startups, writers, tech people. I don't have a different word for them, tech people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people that have a lot of time commitments, but still want to be able to build the things they want. So there it comes back to relationships again, because it's usually like, I don't have time for a partner. I don't have time for my family. I don't have time for myself. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have time. How do I create the time to build the relationships that I want?
Yeah.
So,
That's me. Yeah, you can't have more hours for the day, but I feel the same way. I don't have time. Never have time. Work,
mhm,
work, work, kid, sports, sports, sports every night. We live alone, and it's like it's very hard for my boyfriend to understand. You don't have time for me. I said, you met me. Told you I have to take care of myself first. I'm the solo parent, so I have
mhm,
to work, and then the two kids. So then, like, you'll be like number four, and he was okay with it. Now he's not. I said I would never want to be someone's number four, but you want to date me? I'm not going to see much. Priorities, you know? That's a
yeah.
hard thing to tell someone because they think it'll be okay. And then they realize they're lonely. And I don't blame him. I'm not lonely because I have my kids and I'm so busy. I don't think about being lonely. But if you live alone, I guess you're lonely. So that's what we
Yeah.
all want with the grass is green on the other side. So how do you like make that work between two people if you really don't have the time? I'm
So
asking you advice.
you find the time in the things that you can do together. For
Mhm.
example, you both have the same work shift, maybe?
No, he doesn't. He works
Okay.
whenever he wants, however he wants. So he doesn't have that structure.
Okay. Well,
So
that actually
yeah.
makes it easier then,
Well,
because
yes and no, because then he's always bored because he's home doing nothing.
more
'Cause he doesn't really have to
than
go to work and
you
he does things here and there. Yeah. So it's different. He's always, always alone and upset. I'm always busy and with my children.
Yeah. So he needs more things to do, one, but two, it actually does make it a little easier because now he can accommodate to the times that do you live together?
No, mm-mm.
Okay. So breakfast time wouldn't be it.
No,
But he
no,
can
not at
come
all.
over when maybe you are on the way to work.
Hmm.
Do you work from home?
Yeah, I work from home,
So
but
he can come over between you taking the kids to school and breakfast and have breakfast before you start working.
yeah, but
He
yeah,
has a flexible schedule.
it's true. But kids get on the bus at 8:30. I start work at 9. Can't do that. And then afterwards, every night we have sports except one night a week. So then I have to, after work, then I get to do their homework and then we got to go right out to a sport. It's just, yeah. So he doesn't want to hang out with the kids all the time. I don't blame him, but I don't have a choice. I'm the one I'm the other one who's running them around. So it makes it very difficult. So we're going through some issues. Yeah.
So then what happens when I say, what about that 20 minutes in between where you are eating and having a cup of coffee and maybe you have a conversation instead?
Yeah. But he doesn't want to come just for that because
No, you can do it virtual
yeah.
or over the phone. Like find a little pocket of time to connect where it's just the two of you,
Yeah.
and then prioritize that one
I
day
do. I
where you
try.
have
I'll call him from the car. It's 5 minutes. I'll call him from the soccer field, but then the kid wants me to play with him while the other one's on the field or not. So, yeah. So he's feeling very deprived of attention. I
but
don't blame him.
yeah, but your attention is distracted. I'm talking about 20 minutes of undivided attention.
I never
And
have
then
it. That's the problem. That's why I said, I don't think this is going to work. I said, because I don't, no, it's impossible. But so then I'm like, wait, maybe I shouldn't be in a relationship right now because I'm so busy, you know? One day when the kids are old, they don't need me.
But do you really want to wait that long?
No, no. But everyone says, well, you got to make more time. No such thing. No, 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 not. It's impossible.
We
Thank
only
God.
have so much time. We just need to prioritize now.
Hmm.
Where can we fit in those little
Yeah.
pockets that does work? And this is a couple of minutes of conversation, but we would really look at your entire day and your entire week, and then we will do trial and error, right?
Got
What
it.
does work? What doesn't work? Yeah, 20 minutes in the morning doesn't work. It's not enough time. Maybe there's the dishes to be done. You got to put a little laundry in.
I got to shower when the kids leave. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still things to be done. Maybe lunchtime becomes a thing. I know
Okay.
we're talking during probably most people's lunchtime.
Yeah.
Maybe after work, after the kids, like maybe you do activities with the kids.
Oh,
Maybe the
yeah.
kids
That's
are
it.
there.
Boring for him and it's boring for me sometimes. But yeah, that's the only way we can. migrate in.
But you put the kids to do an activity and you sit there and you have a meal together, you have a glass of wine together, you have a cup of tea together, and you actually have a conversation. It doesn't actually have to be, but spending that time and talking to each other and finding out not just what did I do to the gate, not just logistics of when we're seeing each other again or going to the movies, or like out of just logistics, like really talk to the person that you were trying to get to know at the beginning.
Got it. All right.
And a few minutes of that, and you start to feel that again. And then you actually want to put the effort into having that feeling more.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. See, giving me advice today. I love it. And I apologize. We're out of time. We have 2 minutes left. How did you want to end off for today's show?
You can find me on the website, book a free consult. We are accepting new clients. Feel free to reach out. We'll be back next week. And hopefully we have some callers with some issues that can, or we come back to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Nirmala, how do we reach you? Tell us again, the website, any form of contact?
alignself.co, alignself.co. And that is the website. It's the best way to contact us. There is a email address and a book a consult now link on there as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Pleasure getting to see you, and looking forward to the next time we connect here via Zoom or the podcast or both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. To all of our listeners, please stay tuned. More of the show's on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.